To dream of a better future, we must actively work towards it. The driver's seat may seem insignificant, but it holds the power to redefine history. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Women on Wheels here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Taiwo Baruwa. And yes, this program is brought to you by Elizabeth Toyota Nigeria, the main distributor of Toyota automobile brand in this part of the world. On today's edition of the show, we shall be focusing on the struggles of women. Staying on top of their games. We shouldn't forget that, while women try to occupy top positions, while women struggle to, strike a balance in being part of decision making, also some women at the bottom of the ladder ensuring that they ensure that the family stays together. It could be as a result of loss of spouse. It could be as a result of circumstances beyond their control. But in the end, they take up the challenge, they take up the struggle to ensure that they keep the family together and ensure that they train their children. Aside striving to steer their affairs at various organizations, women in Nigeria have been striving from time immemorial to stay in charge of different affairs. From the ones you see on the roads, driving, the e-hailing cabs, to tricycles, to commercial buses. If you haven't seen one, then you might have to visit some places. Perhaps we'll get some calls on the show tonight. I would like you to please share with me if you have encountered a woman driving you, either on the bus, on a tricycle, or even, any of the e-hailing cab services, right? Share your experience with me tonight. I would love to hear. It might not necessarily be tonight, but subsequently, we will be sharing with you some of their experiences. Some of them go through harrowing situations just to put food on their table. Aside from these people in the transportation sector, you also have some of them, in major markets, carting goods on their heads. It's not because there are no options. Of course, they had to have options, and perhaps that's what we could lay on to ensure that they do the right thing. And then putting the children first, of course, would require that you do some extra things on the side. But that's not the focus on tonight's show. I have someone that will be speaking to us on the show tonight on her experience driving so far within the city of Lagos. The women on crew, the Women on Wheel crew actually caught up with Yemisi Onimole, a businesswoman who actually shared her thoughts and her experience driving on Lagos roads. Let's listen to Yemisi And of course, after this time at WMC, certainly I'll be telling you more about what Lagos roads are looking like tonight, traffic wise.
It's good to be a good driver, especially on Lagos Road. I've been driving for basically, um, let me say 22 or 23 years or years. Yeah, thereabout. And then for me, it was actually one of the prerequisites I needed to submit to my husband before I got married. So I actually had to learn before getting married.
That's interesting.
Because for him, he felt that if he has a wife and he has to go to work, and then the wife has a child who has to go to the hospital, what's going to happen? Is it that he's going to leave his work to drive his child and his wife to the hospital, or will he rather leave the car with the wife to take the child to the hospital while he goes to work without the car? So he made that choice and he gave me that mandate that, man, you have to learn to drive.
What was your feeling like when you first drove a car?
Hey God, oh, man, it wasn't easy. I was afraid, very nervous, apprehensive. Yeah. I was shaking. You know those cars then now, they are manual. Today, if they tell me to come and drive that manual, I will not. It's like I've forgotten how to even drive manual. But then that was what I used, to learn. Though it wasn't easy, but I had to, start, little by little. Actually, you're always very okay when you have a driver around you. When you have somebody, who is watching what you're doing, who is a professional driver beside you, you're more confident. And then you know that that person around you can always help you through. And then, but the very first day, I was meant to take the car out myself. Yeah, it wasn't easy. It was not. If you see the way you would think I took my bath inside the car. I was sweating from my head like this to my toes. My clothes were soaked because I was nervous. I was really nervous. I was afraid. I was shaking. I was like, God. And there was traffic that particular day. You have to press your brake, your clutch, and you are very careful. You don't want to hit another car so that they won't even know that you are still learning. Even though I was learning then, I didn't even put the learner's permit, the L shape on the car, because I really didn't want people to know that I was learning. So I was just trying to, maneuver myself. So that day wasn't funny at all. By the time I got back to my station, to where I was meant to park the car, when the driver who gave me that instruction to go myself saw me, he was like, Madam, what happened? Ṣé ìwẹ̀ ni nínú mọ́tò ẹ ṣe ń làágùn tó yìí? No, guys, not easy. It wasn't easy at all. But thank God, that was my breakthrough. That particular day was the day I broke that jinx of that fear and nervousness.
Throughout your 23 years of driving, has there any time you had a crash?
Basically, not really, but kind of not close to. Maybe because I lost concentration, you know. I think it was on Third Mainland, right, actually. And then I was talking to somebody. Somebody was beside me, so we're talking. I've forgotten. There are cars who are just coming speedily and then driving past you. So that fear of immediately, I never knew I had moved close to somebody beside me until I heard that there was this crash, and then the person had to wait and said, madam, what's going on? I said, sorry, I didn't know that. It was just lack of concentration. So it's very, very important to, be focused and then concentrate when driving.
What has driving brought to you, to your self-esteem as a woman?
It has really helped it has given me independence. Seriously, independence actually. That I don't need anybody to help me if I need to go out. And then sometimes I need to go to the market and buy stuff. I don't have to look for somebody to drive me. And then I can't be at the mercy of anybody. at this point, even for the kind of business that I do, I drive myself. There was a period when my usual car was a truck. So when I have a job, I take that truck. When I go to work, I take the truck as well. And so when people see guys beside me and I'm driving, they look at them and like give them attitude like, a woman is driving. This small woman is driving, and you guys are seated beside her. So sometimes if I choose not to want to drive, I look for drivers. And so those drivers actually know that I can drive this car. You can't go to the middle of a road and decide to leave the car for me there, feeling like she doesn't know how to drive, so we'll punish her for this. So no, you can't do that. They know. And then the confidence over the years, driving almost every day in Lagos Road, knowing how to navigate your way, and then with the kind of driving skills you have to learn in Lagos with these commercial road drivers, I built my confidence over the years. There are some business in Lagos that it has to do with if you are not mobile, that business may not really be profitable. Yeah. This skill in driving had really helped me in my business so much. So much so that as a woman behind the wheels, you have to be focused, be determined, you watch your ways, and so you know how to navigate yourself. Those are some of the skills we know in driving. And so this has transpired into my business in such a way that it had kept me, at an edge with my clients in a way that I can practically convince them, to use my service because of my determination in getting something. I was determined driving. I had that determination because, like I said before, that it was one skill that I needed to submit. It was one prerequisite certificate I needed to submit to my husband. So that one now gave me confidence in going into business, knowing fully well that I can boldly reach out to people, confidently tell them what I do, and tell them how best we can do it, and then achieve what they want. And then, look at their various ways they want that thing to be done, and then being able to achieve it. Does that answer your question?
As an entrepreneur, have you ever failed at one time or the other in business before? Then if yes, what was the experience like and how were you able to navigate out of the situation?
Yeah, there is always every means of business people failing. But as a business person, um, failing is not meant to keep you down or to throw you out of the business. Failing in business only tells you how best and how better you can do things. Of course, I had failed severally, and particularly during the COVID, but I was able to pick up myself. It wasn't easy anyway. It was a new business that actually started in 6 months, just went down the drain, came down, crumbled totally because during the period, no, it wasn't even COVID.
NSAS.
It was NSAS, yes, it was NSAS, yes, thank you. It was NSAS. That business, where it was situated within the premises of a Lagos-owned property. And so I think the Woodlums believed the business was owned by Lagos State government. So for some of us that own business line around that, within that premises, we lost all we had. Some were taken away, some were destroyed. The business totally came down, which was something that started 6 months before. So we had to pick up again. We dusted our feet, and then hit the ground running again and then look forward to what to do next and how to start all over again. It wasn't easy. Well, for a business person, you must have that mind of falling and then rising up again. Like the Bible says, when we fall seven times and then one and then we rise up again and do more better. So we're able to come back again, even though we couldn't do that business again the way we do it, but we are still on it, trying to build it back.
Yes, it's no longer news that Vice President Kamala Harris lost the election. As a woman, how did you feel at the gains from the defeat?
Actually, when it comes to election like this, it's not about a male or female thing, but it's about what the nation at that point in time is expecting from the politicians or whoever is vying for the position. But at this point in time in America, there had been a lot of scandals, destruction, families who are not happy with what is going on in America, sex, gender, transgendering, children, and parents being in pain because their children are being taken away from them who didn't have a voice. But, sex scandals and abuses here and there. It wasn't really palatable. It wasn't something people are happy about, and then people never expected the country would get to that point. And so they all know that the party that brought in all this destruction is the Democrats. Yes,
Democrats.
Yes, it's Kamala Harris, and so people were not happy about it. So it's not about who the person is, it's not about the gender at this point. It's about the party. So, whoever Kamala Harris is, I think she would have a rethink of what is going on in America and then take a new turn to ensure that things fall in line the way.
Your parting shot.
To stay focused and be determined in achieving their life goals.
All right, the voice of Yemisi Onimola there. She is a businesswoman. Apparently, women as leaders and decision makers at all levels are critical to advancing gender justice and gender equality. And as leaders, women have the responsibility to drive their teams to achieve and exceed target. From the point of view of Yemisi there, who is a business owner, who has been, championing the cause to ensure that she succeeds in what she believes in. She has actually walked us through her path in some of the challenges she encountered, especially while driving. Yes, the program is Women on Wheels here on Lagos Traffic Radio, 96.1 FM, and the program has been brought to you by Elizabeth Toyota Nigeria. This is where we get to draw the curtains on today's edition of the show. Maximum thanks to my producer, Idu Adeyemi, Ajase Oluwale, and Fumelade Akingbabum. My name is Taiwo Baruwa. The program makes a return next week, Tuesday, for another interesting edition.